there's a lower limb amputation every hour, and by 2050, there'll be 300,000 people living with an amputation here, costing the national healthcare system $8 billion per year. Unfortunately, there are aspects of prosthetic legs that have been difficult to optimise to meet users' needs. Of particular importance is the prosthetic socket, and more specifically, the interface it makes with the end of the amputated limb. The surface of the residual amputated leg is usually a soft, fleshy pad of muscle and soft tissue created during the amputation surgery. The soft tissues bearing the transmitted forces between the person and socket are prone to sensitivity and injury when the tissues are loaded too much or incorrectly. Socket fit is the major factor affecting rehabilitation for both prosthetic users and clinicians involved in their care. Without a comfortable socket, many people abandon the use of their prosthesis, regardless of how good the rest of the design is. The residual limb fluctuates in volume, shape, and temperature. Furthermore, altered sensation in the residual limb is common due to nerve injury following amputation. The prosthetic socket is typically a rigid component, custom designed and built for each end user by taking a plaster cast snapshot of the residual limb at one point in time. You can see the challenging job that the prosthetist has to try and fit a rigid socket onto a geometry that fluctuates, and the challenge for the prosthetic user to provide good feedback on whether a socket is comfortable on a surface with altered sensation and such a lot of variation. We propose a set of smart sensing pads that will be embedded in a liner that will sit between the residual limb and prosthetic socket. The pads will measure pressure at different regions of the socket limb interface and will respond by adjusting volume to meet the user's requirements. This could include reducing pressures to offload regions or increasing pressures to accommodate changes in limb volume or activity. The system will be accompanied by a mobile application that will record pressures and enable clinicians to remotely monitor and track them over time. The total available market for living lower limb amputees globally is estimated to be 2.8 million, with 50% of these located in the USA. The global prosthetics and orthotics market was valued at $6.39 billion in 2021. USA was the leading market with more than 37% of market share. The USA will be included in our target market in the longer term, but as a test, we'll target Australia as our serviceable available market with 2,400 new transfemoral or transtibial amputations each year. Our serviceable obtainable market is New South Wales, with a market of 800 people per year on top of those already living with an amputation. Our target market is the prosthetics clinics and funding bodies that supply prostheses to the end users. We seek to position the device as a tool for use in the clinic and community as a preventative measure to reduce complications associated with poor fit. Several aspects of the technology can be protected. Firstly, the device itself is novel. Secondly, the knowledge that will be generated from the clinical trial regarding pressure thresholds will hold a commercial value. Thirdly, the software to be used with the device will contain intellectual property regarding control of the device. We have performed some preliminary patent searches and will continue to monitor with the help of the IP team at the university. We propose a two-stage development plan for our sensor pads. The Stage 1 device is a lab-based version of the pressure pad that we'll use to conduct a clinical trial to establish pressure thresholds for controlling our device. The Stage 2 device will be a portable, passive version for use in the community. We anticipate this project will be at the research partnership stage over the next 1 to 3 years while the technology is developed and validation is performed. Once this is complete, we'll seek to partner with a large prosthetics company in bringing the system to market. Once this device moves from a research context into the clinical space where it will be used to inform practice, it will fall under the definition of a medical device. The Stage 2 device will be Class 2. The team need to discuss the requirements as well as regulatory steps for this classification. We also need to ensure we are adhering to appropriate quality management practices in accordance with ISO 13485. We'll create a quality management system with associated processes and user monitor this as we continue with development. We also need to navigate the requirements to have the device listed through the appropriate funding body. Based on current production costs of the sensor system, we would anticipate the cost of the sensor pads to be in the order of $200 per unit. We would aim to sell them for $400 per unit. We'd aim to sell 1,000 units in the first instance across Australia and the USA. This would enable us to demonstrate a cost benefit to the funding bodies, after which it would be easier to expand. We'd provide the mobile application free of charge to prosthesis users, but would also seek to license the application software to clinics for remote monitoring of user data. If we're successful with the prize, we would spend the money on the development of the Stage 1 device and commencement of the clinical trial to establish pressure thresholds for the Stage 2 device.